This Banjo video will show you how to repair your 2-inch and 3-inch poly wet seal self-priming centrifugal pump. Follow these steps for disassembling. Please remove the bottom drain plug to drain antifreeze before starting. Next, remove the 10 body screws, lock washers, and nuts from the pump assembly. Now remove the body from the pump assembly. Remove drain plugs and replace O-rings on both at this time. Remove the check valve from the volute. Remove the one upper volute screw and the two smaller volute screws from the volute. Now remove the volute from the remaining pump assembly. Remove the impeller bolt, the washer, if your pump is equipped with one, and gasket from the impeller. Use a 7/16 to 14 hex head cap screw to screw into the impeller snout. As the bolt is tightened, the impeller will be pried off of the shaft of the drive unit. Remove the 7/16 to 14 screw once the impeller has been removed from the drive unit. Remove the impeller hex nut and impeller key. Examine and replace if necessary. Then remove the gasket. Remove the O-ring segment at this time. Remove the 4 rear bracket screws, rear bracket washers, and screw head O-rings from the rear bracket using a 1/2-inch socket. With the 4 rear bracket screws removed, the rear bracket and seal can now be removed from the drive unit. Remove the body O-ring. Remove the seal half from the rear bracket. The seal is very fragile, so be careful not to crack the seal if it will be reused. Remove wet seal reservoir O-ring located on the back of the rear bracket. Remove seals and spring from shaft. Remove adapter shaft and then reservoir. Now remove drive unit key. Remove seal from reservoir. Be careful not to damage the seal as it is fragile. Remove 4 O-rings from reservoir. With the pump completely disassembled, clean all of the reusable parts thoroughly, removing any traces of old gasket material and trapped or dried liquids that were run through the pump. Follow these steps for assembling. Replace seal in reservoir after lubricating with P80 emulsion rubber sealant. The seal half should now be installed into the rear bracket and reservoir. To install the seal half into the rear bracket, use a tool such as a 1 1/2-inch pipe nipple or arbor press to give even pressure on the metal flange of the seal housing during installation. Gently press the seal into position until it bottoms. Install drive unit key and adapter shaft on drive unit shaft. Install 4 O-rings in grooves in back of reservoir. Use a dab of petroleum jelly to hold in place. Place the reservoir over adapter shaft. The groove should be at top. After lubricating the shaft with P80 emulsion rubber sealant, slide seal, spring, and seal onto the shaft. And install reservoir O-ring onto the rear bracket. Install the rear bracket onto the drive unit using the 4 rear bracket screws, washers, and replacement O-rings. The handle of the rear bracket should be to the top of the drive unit. Tighten the screws securely. Install O-ring segment after lubricating with petroleum jelly onto the rear bracket. Install the shaft gasket. Place the hex nut, then impeller key in the slot located inside the impeller snout. The impeller is now ready to be slid onto the drive unit shaft. And install O-ring onto the rear bracket. The O-ring may be sparingly lubricated with silicone. Secure the impeller to the drive unit shaft with the impeller bolt replacement gasket, washer if equipped, and impeller bolt. Tighten the impeller bolt until snug. Install the volute onto the rear bracket using the 3 volute screws. The drive unit should be turned over a few times to check for clearance between the impeller and volute or impeller and rear bracket. A small amount of drag will cause no problem. However, if the drive unit will not turn over because of the lack of clearance, an impeller shim may have to be used. Install the check valve onto the snout of the volute. Install the pump body with the outlet flange facing up. Install the 10 body screws, washers, and nuts to secure the pump body to the rear bracket. Cross-tighten securely all the way around. Install 2 drain plugs with replacement O-rings into reservoir. The pump is ready for operation after you have filled the wet seal reservoir 3/4 full. The seal assembly should be submerged with a 50% ethylene glycol antifreeze and 50% water mixture.